Just want to be honest with you. I am not sure how helpful this is going to be, because I can't see them having one of these things at every single station, and then also putting police at every single station, and then also putting police inside of the platforms. So I have no idea how this is going to help stem violence. But I can tell you this much. Mofos is going to pay that fare.
That's a real gun, but it doesn't have the firing pin in it. That's a real gun, but it doesn't have the firing pin in it.
This city has a technology mayor. When you do an analysis of how many Google searches are done and how many people respond to technology, you see how much we come up. We have a technology mindset in this city, and we're calling all companies out there, bring us your product, let us test it. This is the best testing ground on the globe to see how good your product is.
BBN! Jack Frost! What's up, party people? Alright, so... yeah! So apparently, and I just want to be clear about this, the mayor has decided to prevent violence on the subways by stopping guns from making it aboard. Okay. Now, first, you got to start somewhere. Okay. So I'm going to say a couple of things that's going to be knocking this particular venture, but you do have to start somewhere. I think, and this is just my belief, that people believe that guns is the reason for the violence, when in reality, it's mental health. That's why we dropped the mental health video first, because the mayor is on board. It was all during the same press conference. The mayor is on board, and he does understand that there's a mental health epidemic going on in America and on the planet, but specifically a concentration of it exists inside of New York City that is now making its way down to the subway at a greater number than in previous administrations. Now, with all of that being said, if you think you're going to prevent violence on the trains by stopping guns from making it on the train, I don't really understand how that's gonna work. Many people get stabbed on the train. We have people with no weapons pushing people in front of trains. So I think you need more than just preventing guns on the train. Personally, also, just so we could be clear, there is not really as much gun violence on the subway as there is other violence. Gun violence, it's absolutely always going to make it to the press. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to talk about it. It is what it is. But we have an epidemic of mentally ill people in distress screaming out for help and people laughing at them. Mayor, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. You need to make stalking and those crimes that are associated with stalking, they need to be 5-year minimums. I'm going to say this again. You need to change laws. Listen and pay attention. You need to change laws to make it so that stalking somebody, being found guilty of stalking somebody, obviously, it's a 5-year minimum. There's this dude, I think he's supposed to be Marcus Garvey's grandson, and he is always going out in public and harassing people. I have no idea why he hasn't been arrested and incarcerated yet. And I don't want to hear he's doing it to help black people. I don't want to hear that. I've seen him harass women, black women. They're in distress, asking for help. But since they're in distress, they don't get any help because you always have to be speaking calm or nobody believes you. When in reality, when the whole world is falling apart in front of you, the last thing you are is calm. The average individual, when they go through stress, you can see it. It's palpable. So we need to stop with this. Whenever you're speaking to the police, whenever you're trying to tell somebody that something is wrong, that you need to be calm or nobody is going to believe you. That's why a lot of people end up being killed by their spouses. Because when they go and they try to tell people that they need help, because they're erratic, people don't give them help. You gotta calm down before we can help you. Why, nigga? They trying to kill me. Now, with that being said, I think this whole where are they gonna put these things? That's the question. People, are they gonna have the ability to just walk around? Is it gonna be at the door, at the toll booth? Is it gonna be at the stairs? Like, where is this thing gonna be? Are there going to be police officers that they can just look at a person and say, hey, I need you to walk through this thing? Because then that's profiling. You can't do that. I could just imagine if you get profiled and get found with a weapon, that's going to get thrown out of court. They're not even going to be able to arrest. They're not going to even be able to convict that guy. It's going to get thrown out of court. You can't profile. So I would like to know exactly how they plan on implementing these. I need to see exactly how it's going to be used. Now, with that being said, there's so many weapons that are not guns that you are not going to be able to prevent from getting on the train with this thing. There's certain crimes that can only be prevented by people being there to prevent it. I'm going to say that again. There's certain crimes that can only be prevented by people that are there to prevent it. You aren't going to be able to prevent these crimes no other way. What do you do when somebody get on the train and they have a 3D composite weapon? They have one of them 3D deposit guns that ain't metal. How does that work? You know, the guns that they could get it on the planes. How does that work? Honestly, I want to know. How does it work when somebody just decides, you know what? I can't bring my gun on the plane, but I could sharpen up this piece of plastic. How does that work? How does it work when you have these people that they got to carry their tools? How does that work? You know how many people get on the train and they got to carry their tool bags back and forth to work? How does that work? How does it work when the dude walking with the steel-toe boots, because those are just his only shoes? How does that work? Because I know when I go through metal detectors, I got to take my belt off. I got to take my phone out. I got to do all of this stuff. How does any of this work? Now I'm going to tell you about a technology that existed for a whole bunch of years, but they haven't, they don't want us to know about it. It existed for a long time. Basically, it was in cop cars. I don't know if they're still implementing it. They might have just put it out of commission for various different reasons, because one, I guess it's also an invasion of privacy. But they used to have these devices that were on cars, and it can tell when a person is walking around with an effing gun on them. And they used to be able to, and that's why a lot of people got picked up. You think somebody snitched on you, they didn't. Maybe they did, I don't know. But they used to have this technology that they can literally point it, and it can tell them if you have a lot of metal on you. It's like a metal detector, but you can point it at somebody and you can tell. I would assume they were just giving people cancer also, by the way. That might be another reason why they discontinued it, at least to my knowledge. It's been discontinued. But this was something that they had going on in the 90s. I spoke to somebody, and this is something they had it going on in the 90s. It was kind of experimental, 90s to the 2000s. I don't know if they actually ever kept it going. I don't know why, if they didn't, and I don't know if they're still currently using it. But I say all that to say this. I'm happy with the effort. People need help and people need assistance. But until you start putting officers on almost every platform on a normal, regular, you're not going to be able to prevent a lot of these attacks. Until you start preventing harassers from harassing people. Because you do know a lot of these individuals that end up going and committing these crimes, they just walked away from a nigga harassing them. They just walked away from Satan putting that battery in their back to go do evil deeds. You do know that, right? A lot of these people just aren't just sitting there thinking, I'm gonna be evils. A lot of them are just sitting there sad and depressed. And then some jerk comes along and turns that sad depression into anger, frustration. They're already frustrated, but turned it into anger. That anger turns to vengeance. So I personally want to see some of these stalkers and these people that harass individuals locked up 5-year minimums. I don't want to hear I didn't do nothing. I just messed with the person. I don't want to hear that. If you start putting these people in prison that are out there purposely because they're mad at their own life, they don't got nothing to do with their whole day but harass other people. When you start putting these people in jail, and I mean by the freaking handful, start putting them in jail. Start making it so when somebody makes a report about harassment, that is freaking followed up on. Because I'm going to tell you what's happening. A lot of these people, I'm not saying they aren't mentally ill, but what I am saying, they're also in distress, whether they're mentally ill or not. And then you got these individuals that their whole life is based around harassing people and trying to get them to act out of character. Please put those people in prison. That's the real mental illness. Like, comment, subscribes. Join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all I get on this one. I'm out.